I killed 33 times. You're only going to kill me once.
Someone who has been a murderer for almost 20 years.
No man is truly innocent.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to a brand new series called The Graveyard Shift. Oh, it's going to be called The Graveyard
It'll be
Shift.
called The Graveyard Shift, yes.
It was Chris's idea in the first place. He messaged me about 4 or 5 days ago with this idea. We at least used to be massive fans of last podcast on the left back in the day. And they talk about all the big hitters, everything like that, and all the major serial killers. Everybody knows your Ted Bundys, all the rest. We do know.
Yeah.
I'm just drawing blanks at the minute. Richard Ramirez, he's another big one.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring in my last podcast hardback book with all the serial killers in it.
Oh, yeah, man.
I will bring that. I'll bring that in here. I'll
a good
either
shout.
put it there or anything. It's just an unopened book.
Sweet.
I just bought it because it was up for sale, and I thought I want this, just to have it.
It's a good shout. So, yeah, like Tommy said, this is a little idea I had, but I knew, like, me and Tommy would probably enjoy this as a little side series thing on the Plastered channel. We've both dabbled in, serial killer stuff before. I find it quite interesting. I find the psychology of it very interesting.
Yeah.
That's what I like to get my hands on, like the psychology of the person.
Yeah, they say to never really give the culprit sort of the limelight.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't put out people's names and stuff like that, but I think as a learning perspective,
You have to.
yeah, just like you always hear about like early on in a serial killer's life, as a kid, suffer brain injury.
Yeah.
Like 9% of the time.
Yeah.
That's just a complete made up statistic, but
Yeah.
it is a lot of the time.
I mean, so like,
And then, like, if you don't learn that, you don't recognize any sort of patterns or any
you'll
sort
see
of
in
life
this.
stories.
You'll see in this that like a lot was learned from previous things to help with this.
Yeah.
But yeah, so today the serial killer we're going to be talking about is one I've chosen for the first episode. And like the plan is for me and Tommy to take it in turns to deep dive research either serial killers or different topics. It'll probably be more of the ooky spooky nature.
Yeah, you
Scary.
used it. Use the
I
word.
used the word.
Confetti. Edit confetti.
But yeah, so this week, because it was originally my idea, I thought I'd take responsibility for the first one. And this one, I've always found to be the creepiest and most grotesque serial killer in American history.
Very good way to start out.
And I think he's not very well known.
That was the whole point, though, of what Chris was trying to say a few days back, is that, like, you do hear about all these big hitters, and there's people who, I want to use the word entertaining,
Yeah.
or, like, there's more informative, shocking stories
Yeah.
for the, like, what do you call them now? When, like, the fighter is less likely to win the other fighter, the underdog, so, the underdog of the serial killers.
Yeah.
They could incorporate the underdog. No, we won't.
But
I had an idea for about half a second there.
it's gone.
Yeah, and then I instantly shat on it.
Yeah, so like I said, the first one is Richard Chase.
Richard Chase.
Richard Chase. He is a very sadistic, sick, mentally ill piece of shit. I will say there's moments in his like early years before he completely switches and just becomes what he now is, where I see him and I do have a little bit of sympathy because you can see he's screaming for help. He's really not well.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, the psychology of it is fascinating to me. And again, the things this guy did turned my stomach. The first time I ever listened to this on Lost Podcast, it stayed with me for a few days, like thinking over what he did,
Yeah.
how he must have done it. Like, and there's not many serial killers that have done that with me because most of the time it's just like, oh, like not to sound crass, sorry, but like, I killed someone, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But with Richard Chase, it's much more than that.
Yeah.
And he's not, like I say, he's not very well known. So to me, anytime it was like, my mom, She loves like crime drama. She loves watching documentaries about serial killers.
For the past 5 years, it's been all the rage, hasn't it?
And I remember the first time I said to my mum, "Do you know Richard Chase?" No. She said no. So I was like, right, watch a documentary on him. She watched it. She came back to me. She was like, "That's horrific."
So what
She'd never
documentary
heard.
was it?
I think it was the Born to Kill documentary.
Oh, okay, yeah, when they go like
Yeah.
down the list kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's
Lauren,
a British one, that is,
yeah,
isn't it?
it's a British one. Lauren watched it. Watched a bit about him.
Yeah.
I told her a bit about him. She couldn't believe she'd never heard of him.
Oh, okay.
And that is the common thing when you tell someone about Richard Chase. Because he doesn't have the sheer numbers as a Ted Bundy, as a John Wayne Gacy, people just think, nah. But when you actually read what he did, it's sick.
Yeah, there's some. I think a lot of the big hitters have something about them that's easy to access.
All right.
Kind of straight away. It's sort of redeemable.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Like with Ted Bundy, I don't see it myself, but everyone thought he was a good-looking guy.
Yeah,
and he was a smart guy, and like that like instantly doesn't make him relatable, but makes you look up to him in one way or another. You've got like Richard Ramirez with the satanic kind of vibe that sort of came out of nowhere and was its own kind of thing at the time. And
he was known for being quite cool because he was into like rock as well. And
like the whole metal kind of vibe and everything. And he had a lot of like, it was seen as that like, obviously was a bad boy. It was a majorly like bad boy kind of look. And then a lot of women loved him.
John Wayne Gacy was powerful. He was like into politics and stuff. Ted Bundy was seen as like a good looking guy.
Yeah, and he was into politics as well, Ted Bundy.
Jeffrey Dahmer was kind of like Richard Chase. He was a fringe person. He was like never in any circles or anything. Again, you see that he's very sick. The things he did was very twisted. Because he had no redeemable features.
I think in line with Richard Chase, Jeffrey Dahmer was the kind of person where you think, fuck, like he might have been saved in one way or another.
Again, I agree, because I said that to Lauren when watching the documentary Jeffrey Dahmer. I was like, again, I have a sliver of sympathy. Because there's early signs where if someone would have helped him, it would have stopped.
Yeah, there's a whole interview series with his dad as well, when he sat with his dad and his dad's just having to try and comprehend everything that they're talking about.
But yeah, I do think there's redeemable features in most serial killers. And a lot of times that's what makes them so successful. Ted Bundy was quite disarming because he was charming, he was good looking. John Wayne Gacy had all this power, so people thought, well, he's not going to be a bad guy. He's a fucking big, like, he's a politician. He's just as a clown and helps the kids.
It's like kind of like hiding in plain sight.
Yeah. I mean, like BTK. He was a well-known guy. He had a job, family, married, kids. Like, maybe not as redeeming, but when you see someone like that, you think, oh, they're just a normal guy.
Yeah.
Got a family, kids.
That may be a good pick.
For BTK, yeah. BTK is a good one. Because, again, well-known, but I don't really see much of him. It's always Dahmer, Bundy, Gacy.
Yeah. So especially, obviously, in recent media and stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, so he's known as the Vampire of Sacramento. So to give you a clue, some of the things he did were to earn that nickname.
Like, I've purposely not looked. I knew who he was at one time. I forgot.
Yeah.
And I've purposely not looked anything up so you can like trigger my memory. The vampire name instantly rings a bell.
Right. So yeah, he was called the Vampire of Sacramento. I mean, you can already probably guess why, but it will come clear as he goes through what
he can count very well.
One, yeah. Apparently, he had a very high-pitched, squeaky voice.
Did he?
Yeah, he was quite dweebish.
I don't know.
Scruffy.
Imagine hearing that. I'm like in the dark.
Yeah.
Three. No.
But yeah, the Vampire of Sacramento. And for all the girlies that might watch this and that normally find vampires sexy,
this ain't gonna be years ago.
This ain't gonna be that. This ain't gonna be no fucking what's his name out of Twilight, something Cullen.
I think it was Edward Cullen, part of the Cullen family.
Like that, yeah. Or fucking guys in True Blood. It's nothing like that.
Yeah.
This is this is disturbing.
Colin Farrell in Friday Night, the remake, 2011, I think
what
that was.
film? I love that film.
I haven't watched the remake. I watched the classic one from the 80s.
No, the Colin Farrell one's really good.
Yeah, I do. I love Colin Farrell as well.
Honestly, watch that film. It's really good.
He's a terrific
David
actor.
Tennant's in it. It's fucking.
Is it?
He's plays such a good role in it. But yeah, well.
Get out my swamp. Anyway.
Right, so just as a bit of backstory, Richard Chase, born in 1950, Santa Clara, California, grew up a relatively normal life in a normal house, wasn't abused much. His dad was known for being quite strict, but nothing out of the ordinary for the time. Might get a belt but nothing where you would
Growing up in the 50s,
yeah. He did show some telltale signs for serial killers. He wet the bed a lot.
Okay.
And he loved to torture animals.
Right, I was going to say animal
he
stuff.
Loved. And they do say when you see that in kids, if you don't nib that in the bud, it's
like, oh, come on.
It's going to get bad.
Yeah.
It's going to get bad. And
put the rabbit down.
As you will see in this, not to place blame on anybody, but his mom lets it slide so much. It's like if you're reading it or listening to it, you're like, what the fuck?
Not instantly just stopping the child. And that'd be a reason to give the child a belt. Like, I think if it's trying to wring a cat's neck or something like that, you'd be like, I'm going to wring your neck just so you know how it feels. And you might not do it to a cat.
That's the thing. And psychologically, they say that the more you let a child do this, it normalizes in inflicting pain on a living thing. It basically minimizes what in your brain would be like empathy.
Yeah.
And you just disconnect completely with other living things. And you see living things as just objects for you to do what you want with.
Yeah.
So like I said, the mother, not to place blame because,
it's all down to him at the end of the day what he chose to do.
And, I'm a parent. I won't have a fucking clue what to do in this situation. But she just lets it slide a bit too much.
Yeah. And when you look up a lot of the famous serial killers, it's over the span of 15 to 20 years, like when all these serial killers who were the famous ones, including like Richard Chase and stuff, like had their reign. It was like between the 70s to 90s, wasn't it? Like it was not like, again, not to put a kind of blame, but it was the times. Like CCTV was minimal, DNA was next to none.
Yeah.
Just any sort of like trace bag used to just have like a detective go up and go, like, used to just have a hunch. Like,
yeah, that's true. It's weird,
and that's why names were so popular back then, like the nicknames and everything like that, because it was in a way kind of romanticized, but people were hard to find.
100%. And
so there used to be a surge,
and it's weird because they say a lot of times in things I watch that like a lot of people just dress the same. A lot of people looked the same hairstyles back then.
Yeah.
So it was much harder to like recognize and define somebody as that. Like you will see later on, Richard Chase was described as a tall, skinny white guy wearing like a baggy coat. And it's like, that could be anybody.
And the only place you hear about that is in the newspaper the next day.
Exactly. And even the sketch of him that was made was just any guy. It was just any guy. You could look at that and be like, that's
me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah. So, like I said, from a young age, he found pleasure in torturing and killing, disemboweling cats. This would affect his emotional maturity in the way that I said, like, because it just restricts your emotional development in your brain. It just stops you from gaining empathy for other living things. While in high school, he experimented a lot with like LSD, weed, so acid is another name for LSD. And that really wasn't good for someone like Richard Chase because, as you will see later on, he had a lot of telltale signs for schizophrenia. And when you are prone to things like schizophrenia, LSD, acid, just fucking amplifies it massively.
It makes you hear and see things that aren't there. And if you're already doing that...
Yeah, it fucks your brain chemistry up even more.
Yeah.
And which is what it did. It just opened his brain up to more shit. But, so there will be an image while we're doing this, but just to show Tommy, that is what he looked like.
Okay. Let me have another look. All right. I don't think I ever looked at what he looks like.
That's what he looked like at the time when he was killing. But in high school, he was actually a relatively decent looking guy. He looked normal.
He's got potential with that photo.
Yeah, but like in the high school pictures, you would look at him and think, that's a popular guy. I bet he gets women.
Yeah.
Like you would never look at him and think, that's a creep.
Yeah, he looks like he's been like ringed out and dressed.
I should have really got a picture of that, but
no, that's fine.
I'll put it in the edit.
All right, I can't wait to see it.
But yeah, he was actually a relatively good-looking guy. Didn't really struggle to get the attention of the girls. He was attracted to girls, but he grew frustrated because he actually suffered from erectile dysfunction.
Oh,
So
instant serial killer.
yeah, and
At a young age as well. At a young age.
you're listening to all your boys just smashing,
Yeah.
and you got limp dick.
Yes. Yeah. And then you're like out with like your like head on kind of thing. Like, that looks like your Billy, that.
Could you imagine though that, mate? Sorry to anyone who might watch this who suffered with ED, but I can't imagine the process of being like, I want to fuck, but I can't.
Yeah. But then, like, another thing, what's the sign of the times as well, is that, like, any kind of medicine or help for that
Yeah,
wouldn't
100%.
have been about.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if like Viagra was a common thing back then.
No.
I doubt it was.
But then, obviously, like, up until a certain age, I doubt they'd give you that as a medicine, you know what I mean? Until, like, you might be maybe 18 or something. But that's still enough time for you to get your freak on, like 18 onwards, if you can have this medicine.
Yeah.
It's enough to, like, bring that sanity back. But obviously...
Yeah, I mean, this is where I have this. This is where the sympathy for him starts to wane in from me.
Yeah,
because
that's something he can't control.
He suffers with ED, which is like strike one.
Yeah,
strike two, he has like major hypochondria.
Right.
So it's like it's hypochondria, but it's like to a scale you've probably never heard of, because it's mixed with schizophrenia. And he thinks his blood isn't flowing. Like, he thinks his blood isn't flowing. He thinks his heart isn't beating. He thinks there's something wrong with his liver or his kidneys. He thinks his stomach's upside down. Like, he has this weird, irrational thoughts about what's going in inside. And he actually becomes quite obsessed with, like, the science books that have, like, all the organs and diagrams.
Yeah, all anatomy stuff.
Yeah, the anatomy, human anatomy.
Yeah.
He becomes obsessed with books like that. And you see him cutting the organs out. You see him cutting parts
out of the page.
Yeah, like
all right.
He becomes
and making like
fixated
a Picasso
on it,
kind of heart.
So that mixed with the ED, while he's in science class, he learns that to gain an erection, it takes blood flow to the penis,
right?
To become
which made him become a hypochondriac.
No,
blood not flowing.
Maybe that's
because it's not going into it.
Yeah, he doesn't really explain it like that, but that is actually
sense.
A good point.
Yeah.
But what that leads him to think is, I need more blood.
Oh.
There you go.
Vampire.
There's the vampire. And then that's where that kicks in. So then he decided to solve the issue by taking the blood from other living things. He would drink the blood of cats and dogs. And like you said, like I said, sorry.
He's looked into all these science books, but hasn't got the fact down that if you drink blood, it doesn't go into your stream of blood.
Yeah. So even on one occasion, when at a girlfriend's house, he took one of her kittens, snuck out into the garden, killed it, and drunk its blood directly from the corpse.
How do you not die from that? Or get seriously infected?
You will ask that question a lot while I'm reading this.
Right, okay.
A lot.
All right, we'll do a count.
I'm telling you. Because reading this, listening to things about it, I asked that question, in my head, I asked that question so many
even
times.
Like, if someone else had like a paper cut, I would never like...
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't anyway, but I'd never like lick their blood or anything like that.
Imagine doing that near Richard Chase. He's like...
Yeah. Hello, Clarice. I see you have a paper cut. I might make another
one.
Yeah.
One paper cut. Oh, man, I wish I had like a transcript from him and I'd make you read it as Richard.
Oh, but in that voice?
Yeah.
We'll find one in a bit and put it in.
But yeah, as he grew older, doing this weird behavior he grew, he would rotate. Oh, sorry, because his mother and father split. His mother and father split when he was 16, I think.
Oh, rough age.
So yeah, again, not the best time as a kid growing up to be going through this sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean, it all tallies up as well through his life because he's found, like, I don't know if he discovered he's got schizophrenia yet. It probably doesn't after he gets like.
It's been noted that he
up.
seems a bit.
Yeah.
But he's never been.
But he's got like the erectile dysfunction.
Yeah.
Oh, I ain't got enough blood. Oh, mom and dad are splitting up. Like it's like it's such like a
if God's real, he cooked when he made Richard Chase.
He did, yeah.
He threw everything in the pot to make him a fucking freak.
Tall, white, skinny, good looking. Put some problems in.
So, like I said, imagine. So again, that's Richard Chase. Imagine him just looking a little bit younger.
Yeah, he looks like an indie guitarist.
Yeah, he does look relatively.
Like if you were knocking around today, even with that hairstyle or anything like that, you'd be like, "Oh, it's just a guy." Like
to also note, he refused to shower most of the time, so he probably stank. He had a fucking stench on that boy.
What they could do then is like in the crime scene, take like scent samples and put them in thing, and then go, "Have you seen this guy?" And it's a scratch and sniff on the newspaper, and you're like, "I can smell he's over there. I can smell him."
I just imagine. I imagine like when I've seen documentaries of coppers or police officers when they say they go to the crime scene and the face of the victim is the last face they pulled, and it's like, they can smell him. Oh. Oh, man, I shouldn't joke about that.
What were his last words?
Oh, God. But yeah, like I say, he rotated between his mother and his father's house after they'd split because of his bad behavior, because of these weird things he was doing. They basically got fed up with him in turn. I was like, "No, you have him. Oh, no, you have him. Oh, no, you have him," sort of thing. And there was one account of where neighbours had reported seeing him standing still outside his dad's property, blankly staring into the house with an emotionless face, with drool just falling from his mouth. And this is like where you see the schizophrenia really start to creep in. You can see his mental states just breaking down.
It's God's Unlimited.
I watched that today.
Did you?
I watched that today.
Just let it drip.
Yeah, I literally watched that today. That's fucking weird. You just said that. So yeah, whilst rotating between his mother and father's place in 1972, during a heated argument, his mother attempted to call the police on him. He snatched the phone out of her hand and fucking beat her on the head with it.
His mother?
His own mother, yeah.
His own mother.
Like I say, he was really starting to disconnect from reality. He was having a really bad schizophrenic episode.
Pick up the pigging phone.
And the police came, told her she could press charges against her, but she chose not to.
Okay.
There's the first.
Yeah.
Like, red flag, do something about it.
Yeah.
So, this made me laugh when I was reading about this, because I just think... So after that, obviously, his mum was like, "I'm not fucking dealing with this no more. I'm going to ship him off to his grandmother's."
Right, so power it off again.
Yeah, and again, you saw that with Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah.
With Jeffrey Dahmer, they just shipped him off to his grandparents and be like, "He's a fucking weirdo, we don't want him to do it.
We're going to give you someone more vulnerable than us to deal with you."
And I feel so sorry for him.
Yeah.
Because his grandmother's like, "The fuck have you give me this weirdo?"
Yeah, I know, yeah. What though? They've given me spoiled food here, like something's just been cooked up and thrown out.
We've sent little Richie over.
I ain't seen Richie in
15
years.
He just looks through the front window and is like, "Richie?
Yeah,
Richie? That you? Come in."
Yeah.
Yes, it's me,
mother.
Grandmother. He just picked up a cat.
Yeah. I brought my... It's just dead.
Yeah.
I brought my cat. Yeah.
Thirsty? Yeah. I felt so bad for his grandmother when I was reading this. But yeah, he was there for a short period of time. She noted odd behaviour. She reported hearing him talk to himself at night, and it was reported that he kept saying, "Good boy, Richie. Good boy."
To himself?
Yeah. And it would be all over the house. Imagine hearing that in the middle of the night, in the darkness. "Good boy, Richie."
I wish I had that kind of confidence.
I don't think that's confidence.
To be confident in myself.
I think
like
that's schizophrenia.
I'm doing that when I get home.
You just get a phone call from Danielle. "What's happened?"
Yeah.
Tommy's not himself.
He's not a good boy. What's he doing? In background, "Good boy, Tom."
So she also stated that he was super paranoid that someone was trying to enter the house, especially at the night time. He was paranoid that someone was trying to enter through the window. Again, paranoia, schizophrenia. It's going haywire at this point.
You've got to be like asleep as well, then.
Oh, yeah.
Throughout all this.
She also found him standing on his head in the corner of the room one night. He was trying to get the blood flow to his head again. My head!
Yeah, man.
On his fucking head in corner of room. Yeah, that's... God, that's creepy.
I imagine he
Pitch
stood
black.
like pencil, like thinking like not even like his hands out or anything. It's just like stood complete like he's just upside down.
I like...
He convinced his own grandmother that she was upside down.
Yeah, his nan...
And that he was stood upright, and they just put all the furniture on ceiling.
Oh... yeah, his nan walks downstairs for a drink or something in the middle of the night. Yeah, nan!
Yeah.
In corner.
And she's
Fucking shit
There's-
herself.
just like the moonlight coming through the window, and she looks in the corner, and she just sees the silhouette upside down, and
Mate.
and then she just looks, and she just goes to bed.
Is it hereditary where he sees his mother in the corner of the room and he's looking and then she runs out of the darkness?
Yeah, she finally gets possessed by the demon pagan, and he's in bed, the son, and he wakes up, and the shot is just one still shot against the bed, and then you see the whole rest of the room, like corner to corner. You see the whole wall, and you don't notice it, but she's in the corner, like on the wall as well. So motionless, and then while he's walking, she goes past floats through midair, and that's when he goes downstairs and then sees, the dark line with sort of her face, and then she just runs for it. Toni Collette's such an amazing actress.
Yeah, that scene is terrifying.
Yeah.
And then she's banging her head on.
Yeah,
something.
like rapid as well. Like it's so off-putting.
Yeah. It's kind of what I imagine in this moment, just without him banging his head in the thing. Just his silhouette in the corner of the room. Right now. Yeah, terrifying. When Chase returned to Sacramento for good after staying with his grandmother, he would begin cutting out and hoarding organs from medical books, like I said, to try and help understand what was wrong with him. He saw a doctor. He told him there was nothing physically wrong with him. The doctor assessed Chase said psychiatric disturbance of a major proportion.
Oh, so he got diagnosed with something.
Yeah, and it just keeps happening through his life. He not long after killed a cat after seeing a news story about a cat that had received high quality medical treatments, and this pissed him off because he felt like he deserved those treatments.
Stupid cat.
Mate, if you were a cat around Richard Chase,
Yeah.
you were just unlucky.
Yeah.
All them 9 lives went like that.
A lot of like cats and dogs back in the day as well were just like neighborhood cats and dogs.
So
a lot of them weren't like house pets.
So there's a quote from a neighbor that said she remembers at the time the Chasers were living on her road that a large number of cats went missing.
Yeah.
And they say on last podcast, like, how many fucking cats have to go missing for you to remember that years later?
Yeah.
Like, if you ask me how many cats live on my road, I don't have an inkling. Do you?
Yeah, like 3. Because our camera facing the front, another thing, they would have had cameras like facing their front garden. But every time like 2 o'clock in the morning,
I won't even notice if one cat went missing.
a cat will go under the car, one of our cars.
So do you feel like you noticed one went missing?
Sort of. Not in a sense that like straight away.
No.
But there's like a cat that has a routine that goes under our car all the time, especially after I come off nights, or if I come off nights because the engine's still warm. So the car will get under the cat. The cat will get under the car. Yeah.
Skinny, fluffy, like that every time.
And then if I notice like one like it'd probably take me a few days to notice. Like, oh, where's that little ginger cat gone? And then I found out it's on like
there's a guy just like a frood. Straining it into his mouth.
Yeah. And then use it as a little welcome mat.
Yeah. Fucking hell, man. The guy had no redeeming qualities, like I was saying, with all the other serial killers that we know have. Ted Bundy was attractive. Like I even made a note that like Charles Manson, absolute psycho, but because he was a good singer and he could play guitar, it was so disarming to people.
I like his music.
His music's good.
Yeah.
I don't listen to it, but it's good.
Yeah.
It's listenable. Like it's actually good.
Yeah. The what is it now? Something Your Game Girl. Oh, what is it now?
Oh yeah.
There's a time for living. Look at Your Game Girl. That's it.
Look at your game, girl. Yeah, well, Demoz had now because Charles Manson's gonna fucking.
Your game.
Oh, he's dead now, isn't he? Is he still alive?
No, he died when he was 81 in prison, and it was a few years back now. I think it was 2021, I'd guess. We'll fact check it in a bit. Yeah, but no, yeah, he had some good tunes, and then there was another one. Carry on.
I also made a note. I made like, do you know what would make him? So I just imagine myself in this scenario. If he has ED, decent looking guy, birds are interested, girls are interested in him, and he just can't get it up.
Yeah.
But imagine if he's got a massive knob as well.
Yeah, just
and
on
just
soft.
Can't get it.
Yeah, he's just thumbing it. His thumb.
Just like strapping it to a length of plastic or something.
Yeah.
Please, like he's so big, but he just won't do nothing.
Like them things used to go like that way, and they used to run through your hands, but just that on soft.
Oh my god, yeah, that would piss me off. I'm not gonna lie. In 1973, not too long after this, he walked into a psychiatric ward, complaining of suffering things that he mentioned along the way of up to this point. So, he'd, stomach, blood not flowing, things like that. But now he was saying he suffered with pain in his legs. He couldn't breathe. So the doctor assessed him again, and they established you're suffering from schizophrenia. But they determined he wasn't a threat.
So they used the word schizophrenia
they
this time.
They actually labelled him schizophrenic.
1973. He's 23?
Yeah.
Right.
So they determined, yep, you're schizophrenic, you're not okay in the head. But they said to his mom, he's not a danger to himself and he's not a danger to anyone else. And like a lot of the things said that I watched and listened to, at the time, they probably were right.
Yeah.
He was a weirdo and he fucked about with animals a lot. But they didn't actually know this at that point, that he was fucking with animals.
Yeah.
They'd just seen him. I mean, apart from when he was a little kid, his mum had not known that he was still doing this at this point. So they just thought, he's a bit kooky, but he's not a danger.
Hey, Richard, funky guy.
So,
really soft, Willie.
He's just walking, he's just like...
Yeah. Today, we're going to be having chorizo and salami.
Have you ever seen The Click, the film with Adam Sandler?
Yeah.
And he has that operation, he's got that belly flap.
Yeah.
He's doing that. Richard Ramirez with his fucking 7-incher on soft. Just fucking come on.
He may have had a massive knob, but then that adds towards erectile dysfunction. Like, you ain't got enough blood, bro. You need more.
Exactly.
Become a vampire.
So, after this, it said that his mental health actually apparently improved for a couple of years until he was again involved.
He couldn't finish his Sudoku.
Until he eventually got involuntarily admitted to the psychiatric ward again, because his dad had found him vomiting in his apartment after weeks of catching and eating rabbits raw.
There you go.
And injecting their blood directly into his bloodstream.
Wow, how are you not dead? How are you only throwing up?
Yeah. Again, this is what I mean.
It needs to be researched.
Mate, innit?
I have to ask, is he dead now?
You'll find out at the end.
Okay.
But yeah,
don't look it up before finishing this episode. So we can find out together.
The fact, like you said, the fact that he could get away with eating raw animals, eating.
If all that they've seen is him throwing up and like nothing else, after injecting the blood, they must have had the same blood type as him.
So he injected the blood because he thought he had blood poisoning, and he thought, I need clean blood. Rather than just drinking it like he normally would, he thought, I need to actually.
He did not read these anatomy books.
No, he didn't.
Tell you now. He just looked at the pictures, made little clippings.
Yeah. So
idiot.
This made me chuckle because he said this resulted in him having blood poisoning, so he got sent back to the ward. They assessed him and they was like, right, you're really not well, so we need to keep you in this time. So they kept him in, and on multiple occasions while he was institutionalized, he would catch birds from his window and break their necks and drink. Yeah.
What?
Well, I don't know. He probably either caught them or just catted them to his window.
Mate, that's the talent itself.
Yeah.
How do you just catch a bird?
Break their neck and then drink the blood from it.
A free cup. You can refill it.
They were seeing. So like Emery Zabrowski last podcast makes a joke because he's saying like, he'd have like the dead birds and feathers and blood all over his window ledge, and then he'd just be sat there with blood all over his mouth, and they'd be like, "Richie, where's the blood come from?" And he's like, "I cut myself shaving. There's just feathers all over his mouth and his t-shirt. And apparently he did say that. He tried to convince them it was shaving, and that's why he had blood all over him. He's not the smartest guy.
Shaving my feathers.
And also, which is fucking crazy, the I don't know what they're called. They're like therapy dogs. Is that what you call them? Like
emotional.
So they're called therapy dogs. Yeah, they're called therapy dogs. And on multiple occasions, he managed to steal a syringe from the medical supply, stick it into the therapy dogs, and drain their blood, and use that to put inside.
And keep the dog alive.
Yeah, he only took probably a little bit of finger. But again, like, how desperate.
Because it was a therapy dog, he just put the word together, thinking he'd
I just think he needs blood. I think his schizophrenia and hypochondria.
But why mention therapy dog?
No, because they're the animals he only had the ability to get to. These therapy dogs and the birds at his window. My God.
Oh, man. To be fair, it looks like some people don't always say they're bored, right? And that they've got naught to do with their day. That'd keep you occupied.
Yeah. If he can do that, then
yeah, like just staying at the window, like underneath the windowsill, and then being like, any minute.
Think of what the other people saw, though.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, just seeing a pigeon land and then going, and
you just see feathers.
Yeah, just like 4 feathers. Just raining down.
Like a fucking Tom and Jerry episode.
Whoa. What the fuck? I imagine the window being really high.
Yeah,
but it's probably really like hip high.
Yeah, probably. I had like a thin bars in it in my head. That's what I had in my head.
Yeah. Imagine him being like at least 3 stories up.
So after a while he was in there, he was put on medication, and it did seem to like
numb him.
Yeah, so dumb him down a bit. Apparently, he just sent him into like zombie state.
Yeah,
because it just nerfs all the fucking endorphins that go to your brain, which is, I think it's endorphins that flood your brain that kind of triggers schizophrenia.
All right,
it's endorphins or something else.
I know there's serotonin, but that
might be serotonin.
That's
actually.
the happy.
Yeah, it might be serotonin. It's either I think it might be serotonin. So it just basically cuts off the receptors for the serotonin to hit his brain. So it just turns him into a...
But it wants to enhance that to make him happier.
Yeah, because I think it's like it overdoses the brain almost.
Okay, so what? He's got too much serotonin?
I think so. I think that's why he said
I'm so happy. I listen to other happy people in my head.
Yeah.
I'm not happy enough to have a fucking car.
But what?
It can't be that happy.
No, there's no way.
Yeah.
But like I said about his mom, she just kept dropping the fucking ball. He got let out after being on the medication for a while. They said, right, he's no longer a threat while he's on this medication to anybody, himself or anything. She didn't like the way it made him into like a zombie. So she weaned him off it without telling anybody.
Mommy's fault.
Yeah. She weaned him off it, didn't tell anybody.
She's definitely like at least 50% contributing towards this guy.
She's feeding into his behaviour massively. And it just makes him probably feel like it's okay because my mom's not doing anything about it.
I get an argument for it, but you are wrong. Like seeing your kid get numbed and turn into a zombie instead of... Because like you said, they never saw his bad side.
Yeah.
Really. So she probably only saw him like happy, whatever, just as a normal kid, and then just seeing him like turn into nobody in her eyes. I get why she did it, but Mummy, you're wrong.
So I'm not sure if I don't think I have the exact date it happened, but there was a time when, I think it happened after he came out of the psychiatric ward this time, that he had another argument with his mom, and in front of her, killed a cat and tore it up and smeared himself in the blood in front of her. And do you know what his mum and dad's response was?
Go on.
We're going to get him his own apartment. Let him live in his own apartment.
Yeah. Like, yep. Yikes.
Yeah, but it's like a lot of the people were saying that. I was watching it, was like, yeah, let's take this paranoid schizophrenic psycho and isolate him even more.
It is, you might as well put him under a rug.
Yeah.
Literally. You
Um,
couldn't make that any more obvious that you're like, not
I
my
just
problem.
wash my hands.
Yeah.
So once he was in the apartment, because they pretty quickly found him an apartment. Once he was in it, he went straight back to his old ways. He started buying puppies. He would hang them in his apartment.
Bro.
He would cut them open, eat their entrails, and then drink their blood.
I would definitely put like some text over this bit.
So from there, without consulting anybody, like I said, his mom would reduce the medication and take him back to his normal state.
Yeah.
And
Well, according to her, anyway.
according to her, 'cause she didn't like the way it made him. I prefer him when he's sucking on the neck of a decapitated cat.
To be fair, I'd like to watch that. I like, don't wait. Let me talk now. Let me talk. Like, you never see that shit, right? And if he's doing it anyway, I like, all right, do that one time, and then I'm gonna get you locked up.
Yeah.
Like, let me just watch.
Yeah. So they got him his own apartment. Warning of this bit: if you don't like, go. This is where it starts to crack
and
up a little bit.
the whole like animal side of everything.
Oh,
I know we've talked about pigeons and cats. So I'm sorry if you're a cat person already, and it's like sort of affected you, but like, yeah, it's only going to get darker from now on.
Yeah, it's going to start to really spiral a bit now, and it only gets worse.
Cool.
So once he was in the apartment, he went straight back to his old ways. Started buying puppies, hanging them in his apartment, cutting them open from like base of their neck to the base of their stomach. He would eat all their entrails and drink their blood directly from the body of the dead puppies. Neighbors would report seeing him walking with multiple pets at multiple times,
And then not walking back out with
never see the pets again. Yeah.
it.
They were not allowed animals either on the apartment complex, so that made it even
Well, it
more
went a
of
problem
red
then,
flag.
really.
Well, yeah, because you're solving the problem
Yeah.
before it's even.
Hey, no pets. Don't worry about it. As he's walking in with.
He's like, noted.
Yeah. He just, mate. He just says that, dog, those are the rules.
So again, said here, a neighbor by the name of Dawn Lawson reported seeing him aimlessly wandering the complex with his mouth open and non-responsive when spoken to. He initially would only let his mother into his apartment until eventually even his mother was not allowed in, and he would only communicate with her through like a crack in the door.
All right. I imagine like the scene in Shining. Do you know, like when he's proper lost it, and then there's that slow zoom on his face while he's just like that.
Yeah, because
Just imagine
because he's
that.
more isolated now. His mental health
Yeah,
is just
you're literally not-
spiraling.
Yeah, all you're doing is you're killing animals that can't talk back to you. That the only thing you hear is them suffering.
And he's just pulling more.
And you're not even
further-
speaking to humans anymore, apart from just the person at the pet shop.
He's pulling further and further away from empathy. He doesn't care anymore.
I imagine it like the in Get Out when he's in the sunken place kind of thing, where you're just watching everyone from a screen far away. Like you just and then you're just surrounded by abyss, like mentally.
Yeah.
There's nothing going on apart from just this daily routine that you're doing. And that's all you know. You barely know words anymore.
Yeah, and you become desensitized to it.
Yeah.
And when you become numb to something, you want to
You
step
have to
up
hide
to the
in
next.
there.
Yeah. So, and that's escalation.
Yeah.
So this was like his first run-in with the law, with the police, and I imagine the police officers in this scenario must have been shitting themselves. So in 1977, in an area called Pyramid Lake, which is
77. So this is 4 years after the
so he
actual
did
schizophrenia
did that.
diagnosis.
He just fucked about that for a few years.
Wow.
And then in 1977, like I said, Pyramid Lake, around 200 miles away from Sacramento, where he lived, a police patrol car came across a red pickup truck that looked like it was stranded in shallow water. Upon investigation, they found there was just blood everywhere, smeared all inside the red pickup truck. There was multiple rifles, and there was a bucket full of blood and a liver. So they were like, oh, fuck, someone might have been murdered. We have to look into this.
Oh, would it have been a large liver then? Like human-sized?
I mean, I don't know how big a human liver is, but they just said they saw a liver.
Mind
so-
you, depending on the size, they might have thought it could have been a young person.
Yeah. I mean, well, you'll find out in a minute.
Yeah, let's go.
So, after looking around about half a mile away, they found Richard perched up on a tall, like, pointed rock, naked, covered head to toe in blood.
Caca!
Covered head to toe in blood. He locked eyes with the police officers and just bolted.
Oh my God, that'd have been scary as fuck. Just seeing like the light from his eyes look at you and then scurry off. I mean, if he'd have ran towards you, it'd have been scarier.
But they managed to catch him. They investigated. It turned out the blood and liver was it liver or kidney? I think I said liver. Was from a cow from a nearby
so
farm.
a large animal there.
But that's the thing. Even if, let's be honest, if I showed you a liver and I was like, "That's a human liver," would you contest me on it? Unless it was like really small.
If it looks like, if you held it here, it looked like it'd fit.
That's what I mean.
I guess so.
As
Yeah.
a copper, I wouldn't think, "Oh, that's not cute."
But if you did come on to me and show me that, I'd be like, "Chris, we're trying to do a podcast."
Yeah. Put that fucking liver away.
yeah. Love it.
But he was released straight after. And again, back in them days, you had to do a lot to stay in prison. They just let you go. It was a weird time. So not too long after that, in 1977, he purchased a .22 caliber pistol, which is, I think it was like the most popular gun at the time to be bought, and it was the most popular gun used in murders.
Right. So it was just another needle.
Yeah, it was like
in the needle stack. Sorry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also another red flag that was just ignored. Because this guy's schizophrenic, and it said he lied about his mental health when
he went to buy the gun.
And I imagine he's just covered head to toe in blood, and he's like,
yeah.
It's like, 22, please.
Yeah. All right. This is just some checks. I'm just going to tick these stuff off. Do you suffer any mental disability?
No.
But he's like,
no.
Oh.
Oh, no, because he's got a squeaky voice. No.
Yeah. All right. And that's all done.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chase. He's a 22, yeah.
22, and here's all your bullets.
Yeah, he's all your bullets for free. The funnier you look, the more bullets you get.
Exactly. The neighbours in his apartment complex not long after heard him shooting the gun, which, again, you've seen this guy. You've seen this guy going in with pets, never coming back out.
Yeah,
there must be a foul stench coming from there.
If he's been doing that for years, going in with these pets, coming out without him, all this like dodgy shit going off, and then after 4 years, you're like, "Oh fuck hell, he's still doing it." And then he goes on one day, you just hear bang, 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 bang. I'm like, oh no, I didn't think it could get any worse. Oh no.
Yeah, that's crazy. And when he was asked about that, again, sliver of sympathy, because every now and then you realise that the guy's just sick. He said he was shooting at the voices in his head. But I don't, like, it makes sense. Like,
This will show them.
There's one easy way to do it.
Yeah.
But,
he just goes,
but apparently he was shooting at the voices.
I'm guessing he was just shooting to make it louder than the voices.
Either that,
because your ears ring, don't they?
Either that, or I assume like he heard a voice from over there and he'd be like,
oh, okay. So he could just, oh my God.
Yeah.
That is fucking... Oh man, I can imagine being a fly on the wall. Just sat there so silently. Shut up! Someone goes around to visit him, they just sat like that while he's doing it. Like they didn't know he was going to do it. They sat. How the fuck do I get out of it?
I imagine.
Well, Richard's been nice seeing you.
I imagine there was a lot of people moving in and out of that fucking apartment.
No, don't get up.
So this is where. So this is a warning. This is where the actual murders start. I mean, I imagine people who watch this relatively like this sort of stuff. They're not too bothered about gore, but it gets excessive.
Yeah, there's one thing knowing that someone got killed.
Yes.
Knowing the ins and outs, and the anything from the words used to the feelings felt, and all this stuff.
It gets really excessive though. When you get deep into the murders, it's like something I've never seen before.
Context is everything.
Yeah, it really is like something I've never read before, nothing I've ever heard before, and it made me feel sick. It genuinely made me feel sick. I'm not gipping up. like a burp. Yeah, so be warned. The first one's not too bad, but then it really starts to go south pretty quick. So the first murder that he actually committed, 29th of December, 1977, just before New Year's.
1977?
Yeah, I wanted to bring in the New Year's.
December what, sorry?
December 29th.
December 29th, 1977.
Wanted to bring in the New Year's in a big way.
27 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you said in 1950, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm just like picturing.
No, yeah.
I'm just thinking of the age he is compared to us. Like 23, I'm totally different person from 23, I think.
Yeah.
27, not so much different than to who I am now. Only 3 years difference.
To build off that, how a lot of people said it, even in the last podcast they said it. Imagine it as if he was so stunted by his mental problems. Like, imagine like around the age of 14, 15, when his issues probably really kicked in, he never grew past that.
Yeah, it's just been put on hold.
Because he never had sex.
Yeah.
Never had a proper relationship with a woman.
Yeah.
He never grew empathy.
He's been isolated.
So he's like mentally still a child.
Yeah.
So like, as you've just said, you're a completely different person from when you were 23.
Yeah.
He's the same as when he was at like 13. He's never grown past it.
God, when I was 13, not who I am now.
Exactly. So again, that's where the sliver of sympathy is, but he's still a piece of shit.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, so... So, on the 29th of December 1977, Chase committed his first murder in a drive-by shooting, which is not on theme for
He was the drive-by shooter.
He was the...
Pop, I see, yeah. Just loads of cats laid up floor. I know. Meow, motherfucker. Pop, pop.
Trying to think like fucking some Compton song that's just on.
Yeah.
Richie says hello.
Yeah.
Richie says hello.
One drive by.
Oh fuck me, but yeah. So West Side. Watch yourself. So in the drive-by shooting, the victim was Ambrose Griffin, a 51-year-old man, husband and father of two. He was unloading his groceries from the car when he was shot on his driveway. Chase claimed that this act was done out of anger because his mother refused to allow him to go for Christmas as his sister was afraid to be around him following the incident of him tearing the cat up and smearing himself in blood in front of his mother, which don't seem too irrational to me.
Oh, wow.
If I did that in front of my mom and she was cool with it, I'd be like, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Never mind me. There's something wrong with you.
Yeah, I was just joking. Me too. So was his mom in the car with him when he did this? Or was he the one? He just lone solo shooting thing.
So
everything?
Because 29th of December, he wanted to go to his mom's for Christmas. She said no.
Okay, got you. I just imagine like if his mom was in the car with him at the time and they had some sort of disagreement and he's just driving going, is that so? All right. Now I need...
Oh, you made me do.
Yeah. Just wiping down fingerprints and passing it out.
2 weeks after that, he attempted to enter the home of a woman, but as the doors were locked, he walked away. This is where the vampire title really starts to... Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Next time.
But this is where the vampire thing leans in even more, and it's not even intentional with him. It's just how his brain was working. That he later told detectives that he saw unlocked doors as an invitation and a locked door as he wasn't welcome.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to be like, he shouted, "I'm a bat!" and just jumped off the top step.
That's squeaking noise.
Yeah. Is that why he was on his head upside down in his grandma's house?
No, bro. Oh, God. I should have watched.
Just like, Richie, what you doing? I'm about. Right.
Oh, it would have still been like terrifying and creepy, everything he did, but it made it so much more flamboyant if he wore like a cape. Dracula's cape as he did it. And after he'd done it, he ran away like
getting caught indoors, and now what he closes, just right slapstick.
And ran off.
Yeah, me. Into the night.
So he also was chased from a property by a couple returning home where he was rummaging through their belongings, where he had also urinated and defecated on their little baby's cot and clothing.
Oh, wow.
He said that he was paranoid that they were following him.
In their house?
Yeah.
I bet he went through their trash as well.
Yeah, he just rummaged through it completely. Because it's like
Only dead cats.
it's like disassociating. I don't even think he knew what he was doing.
No, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
The pissing on the bed.
So that apparently, from what people say, it's like from anger,
right.
just because it's like suppressed anger. And when he's committing these weird acts, all this suppressed anger just comes out in multiple ways.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only thing that can make sense is that it doesn't necessarily make sense.
Yeah.
Like the only thing that you do is if you piss on something is to claim ownership. But
Yeah.
I don't get why you do that either.
So, so warning again. This is where the murders really ramp up.
I mean, I don't know what you're exactly going to talk about, but shit that can go down is like...
So, on January 23rd, 1978, Chase broke into a house and shot Teresa Wallen. First shot went through her hand as she raised her hand to protect her face and exited through her elbow. And it also nicked her neck on the way past. His second shot entered the top of her head and sent her flying to the floor. Third shot, gun straight to the head, shot her like 6 inches from her temple, killed her instantly. Which, to be honest, was probably a small mercy given what he was about to do to her. He started by grabbing her corpse and dragging her into the bedroom. Once in the bedroom, he stabbed her in the stomach with so much force it cracked her sternum. He then cut open her stomach and grabbed her intestines to the point where they were exposed through the wound. He stabbed her again a number of times in the abdomen, with so much force that it came out of her back. He then cut off a nipple and used a yogurt cup to drink the blood from the wounds. After having intercourse with the corpse, he took one more step in humiliating the corpse as he went out to the garden, grabbed dog feces and forced it down her throat. The most heartbreaking thing from this case was to come when the autopsy was performed. It was discovered that Teresa Wallen was around 6 weeks pregnant. He wore gloves while committing the crime but really made no other effort to cover his crimes. She was found by her husband, who only took a few seconds to look at her and leave the house screaming. Chase said after committing the crime, he just went back home and watched the TV for the rest of the day.
Wow.
This is what I mean.
That is crazy.
He's just not there. Like,
not at all.
Yeah.
Like, there's just
rage.
Yeah, everything he's done. Nothing he's done apart from the drinking the blood to think that you've not had enough blood. That's the only thing that sort of makes sense of what he's done.
Yeah.
And then he's just been doing that. Then out of nowhere, he's gone straight into deep end.
So they say that, like, for example, like erectile dysfunction can a lot of the time be linked with anger, suppressed anger for women.
Hardcore incel.
Hardcore.
Like.
But that's what schizophrenia did to him. Just isolated him. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, they said like erectile dysfunction can probably most of the time come from suppressed anger for women. Yeah. And you will see that in things like this. It's almost like he commits the act not through anger, but while he's doing it, the anger just comes out of him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like it just triggers him.
Yeah. I'm guessing he's like, before he does it, you wonder whether it'll work. Yeah. And then he's obviously got to a point where, I've killed her.
Yeah.
I can't, like, I've got what I wanted now. And then I can do whatever I want now.
Yeah.
Because in his mind, he's probably thinking, I'm too far gone. There's no actual repercussions now.
Yeah.
Like, she can't fight back. I might as well use all my imagination in my head on this one person.
Yeah.
Which it sounds like he did.
So,
like, he had time to like go into the back garden and think about that. And,
yeah. So his final kill count, I mean, that's not it, because there's another thing after, but his final kill count was 7. And they include the 6-week baby in that.
God.
And it doesn't really state if they knew she was pregnant. Like, her in general, she might not have known. Imagine being the husband in that scenario. The finding out not only is this sick piece of shit just killed your wife, she was pregnant with your baby at the time.
Yeah, I don't know how soon you could find out back in the 70s. Because obviously, like, I keep saying technology's come a long way. But 77, did you say? Or that was
78. That was 78.
So, okay. Yeah.
The very beginning of 78.
All right. So maybe like a couple of weeks in between each one.
Mm.
Yeah. Mad. And then he just went home and watched TV.
Yeah, that shows the amount of disassociation he has with people. He just has no empathy. He sees them as objects, like the psychologist said in the thing I watched. It said he looks at them like a kid looks at a Barbie doll. It's just something for them to look at and play with and do what they want with.
Yeah,
and that's how he sees people.
And you said he had sex with her.
Yes.
How?
Oh, so sorry. I put that in the next part of the murder. He discovered whilst committing these crimes, his dick would get hard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And if that's
and
the only way, then.
Yeah, and it was almost like a shock to him, and he was like, "Oh," so he would then.
That is crazy, and we've talked about this before, haven't we? And I think last podcast discussed it, but it was saying like we'd hate to find out if something like that would get us like that. You know what I mean? If we found out that we killed someone and then we looked down on our
100%. Yeah.
That it would scare me to no end.
And that could happen.
But the thing is, I mean,
it takes a certain person for it to happen too. But
I'm self-aware enough to know that would scare me, and I would not act on it.
Yeah,
and obviously you wouldn't. Kill anyone in the first place. But
I have too much of a conscience to know that if it got to the point where that sort of stuff was on my brain, I'd just kill myself or something. I would not allow.
Well, you do society a favor, at least. Like lock yourself up or whatever. Like, try to get better.
Like John Wayne Gacy. He didn't know he enjoyed killing people until he accidentally killed someone.
Yeah, he had that boy sleep over.
Yeah.
And then he made him breakfast that morning. So he was going to kill him. Yeah. Killed him first.
And then realised he'd shot ropes in his fucking trousers. Shot rope. And he was just like, I love this.
Yeah, mental.
Crazy.
Yeah, you do you.
I mean, like I said, I think it takes a certain type of like narcissist to get off on that sort of power. Or some like... a narcissist and a what's the word? A sociopath to get off on that sort of thing.
It's disassociation, isn't it? And then
I don't think an average person can get off on that. But there are people out there that I think don't know they would enjoy that. But if they did it, they discover
but
they
it's
do
the
enjoy
self-awareness
that.
of having the fear of going, oh, I'd hate to figure that out.
Yeah.
But I never will.
Yeah. I mean, fuck. I don't even want to think about that, to be honest with you. I'll go into the last, because he did like a murder spree for his last murders. And again, I'm warning you, it gets really bad. It's a struggle to listen to for the first time. But I haven't gone as in much detail as some others do because I just feel like it's a bit long-winded and it's a bit unnecessary because I've put enough down for you to just get the gist of how bad it is.
Yeah.
So
this can sort of be like telling you enough.
Yeah.
But giving you a taste at the same time to venture out because, like we were saying, it's sort of like the underdogs of the scene, isn't it?
Yeah. So, on the 27th of February, so that's just over a month after.
The 10th of Feb.
27th of Feb.
Oh, 27th, sorry.
It's only just over a month after when he committed the murder of Teresa Wallen. So on the 27th of February was the day Chase committed his biggest murder spree. On this day, killing 4 people. He entered the home of single mother Evelyn Miroth, the mother of 13-year-old Vernon and 6-year-old Jason. A 13-year-old son was out. On this day, Evelyn had planned for a neighbour, like a neighbour family that was living close by, to take her 6-year-old to play in the snow at the foot of this mountain. I'm guessing they lived near the mountain. It didn't really say. The father of the family, Dan Meredith, who was at the house at the time, Evelyn had sent him to go grab like snow boots for her son, 6-year-old Jason. Mm-hmm. So once Dan had left, Chase snuck in through the back. He said he was only semi-conscious when he committed these acts, whether that gives him any sort of
leeway.
Yeah. But once inside, he walked into the bathroom where Evelyn was taking a bath, shot her directly in the head, killing her instantly. He then proceeded to drag her body out of the bath and into the bedroom. It's presumed that in this commotion, it caused her 6-year-old son Jason to investigate. When he entered the bedroom, Chase shot him twice in the head at point-blank range, killing the boy instantly. He left the body of the boy near the bed and then went to the kitchen for carving knives to carry out the same acts he had on Teresa Wallen. Once in the kitchen, he heard the front door open. It was Dan Meredith returning. Chase again shot him in the head at point-blank range, killing him instantly. Now, remember I said he killed 4 people on this spree? Because this is when he heard the sounds of a baby crying. Unfortunately, it turned out that Evelyn was looking after her sister-in-law's 22-month-old boy. I won't say the name. I have the name, but I won't say the name.
Okay.
It's a bit sick if people want to go investigate that stuff, so I'm not going to say the name. He entered the room and approached the crib and shot the baby in the head, killing him instantly. He then went back to the kitchen, grabbed 2 carving knives, and began the same ritual he had with Teresa. Multiple stab wounds to the abdomen, pulling out the intestines, even taking out her liver, cutting off her chunk and eating it. He took it a step further this time, rolling Evelyn onto her stomach, stabbing her anus 6 times, and then sodomizing the wound, followed by slicing her neck open and removing one of her eyes. While committing these acts, 6-year-old Tracy Grangard, daughter of the neighbour family, began knocking on the door, to which Chase was startled by. Thank God he didn't open the door, because that would have been one more, I imagine, to the list. Startled him enough to, in his words, grab the baby's body and split.
Oh.
Escaping with the body of the 22-month-old in a bucket and a bucket full of blood. He escaped in Dan Meredith's red pickup truck. He continued his acts once escaping the scene with the mutilation and the cannibalism of the 22-month-old corpse. He drank the blood of the 22-month-old and ate a portion of the toddler's brain. When asked why he did this, he answered, "Because I was hungry."
Wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So there's 4 people in that one night?
In that one 40-minute
In that one
spree.
house,
He did it in 40 minutes.
That's crazy to say that, like, he had 1 at the end of December, had 1 in January, and then had 4 in February, and then he's only got 1 left.
No, he gets pursued after this. That's his last murder. So he did 4, 2 with the woman and her pregnancy.
Oh, okay,
The
sorry.
guy
So
on the drive.
that makes
Yeah,
3,
yeah.
doesn't it? In the
Yeah,
first 2 months. So his reign was only 3 months.
Yeah, he
That's
escalated
mental.
rapidly, and
But as a culmination, like, it's obviously
horrific.
it's like 20 years.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like
been
thing,
building
because obviously
for
the
years.
whole animal side and everything like that. But then it's just weird how he moved onto people. Lasted
Yeah.
3 months,
Mm.
and then was he just on the run after that?
So this is one of the few cases, because when you watch or listen to things about the serial killers back in the days, there are a lot of cases where catching the serial killer is a happy accident. They were pulled on a traffic stop. They fucked up by leaving some sort of clue in a letter or something like that.
Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
serial killers want that name from as well, but with
Yeah.
the whole nickname thing that
Yeah.
happened at the time.
Right,
There was BTK gave himself.
Yeah, BTK accidentally gave himself
Yeah.
the floppy disk.
Yeah.
Ted Bundy got caught on a traffic violation. I think Ed Kemper got caught on a traffic violation.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Dahmer got caught because the guy that he was about to kill escaped. Like, it wasn't due to good detective work. It was just because they fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this case, it was actually good detective work. So basically, I think his name was something. I'm not even going to try it. It was like Bjarni or something like that's the guy of the name of the detective who found him. And basically, he used techniques he'd seen at an FBI convention not too long before about profiling. And he deducted that this guy was probably a loner, probably not very mentally stable, probably new to the area, and they'd had a description of him young, white, skinny, scraggly. And he assumed that because of the mental side of it, he might have been discharged recently from a mental institution, which is ticking every box for Richard Chase.
Yeah, it's like the whole Guess Who thing,
Yeah.
knocking all these people down.
And he also knew, because what I didn't mention before is, as a calling card, he'd left like a unspent bullet of a 22 in their mailbox. So they knew that this was the same guy that was doing all these acts. I mean, they would have known anyway because of the state of the scenes and what he was doing to the corpses and stuff like that.
It was like Phasmophobia when you took off all the...
Yeah, exactly.
We're left with one ghost here.
So when they did the sketch, there was actually a girl that he'd harassed back in high school or college that had seen the sketch and was like, that looks like Rich. And she'd heard all the shit he'd been doing. She remembered some of the creepy stuff he used to do. And they called it into the police, and the guy was like, right, I'm going to look into this guy. They found out he'd been released from a psychiatric ward. He'd been reported for mentally ill and violent, and he had recently purchased a 22 caliber pistol. So the detective was straight away like, this guy's screaming out to me.
Down to the bullet that fits the gun.
Yeah. So they went to his apartment. They banged on the door. Was like, please open up. Nothing. No response. Not in. Yeah. And no response. No nothing. And they said that one of the detectives went into the neighboring apartment and listened through the wall with a glass, and they could hear movement in there. So they pretty much knew he was in there. But the detective that was on the case was a relatively new detective, so he wanted to go back, phone his chief, and be like, look, this situation, what's the best thing for me to do right now? And once they'd left to do that, Richard Chase assumed they'd fucked off and given up. So he'd gone to leave. But what he didn't understand was the other detective was literally hiding behind a bush, like just a bit further down. So Richard went to exit, saw the main detective shit himself, threw a box at him, and as he threw a box at him, like all these like pieces of scrap paper that were just drenched in blood flew everywhere. So the detective chased him down, and as he approached towards the end of the apartment complex, the other detective jumped out from the ambush and whacked him in the head. Yeah, whacked him in the head and sent him flying to the floor. And the main detective said while they were scrambling with him on the floor, he was like, this guy was skinny as shit, but he was freakishly strong. I could not restrain him. And he said he reached for his pistol, pressed the gun of the temple, the barrel of the gun to his temple, and said, stop moving, I'm going to blow your brains out. And he didn't stop. And he said, and in that moment, I would be perfectly justified to have just blown his head off. He was refusing arrest, he was armed, and we knew the crimes he committed. So I would have been well within my rights to just blow his fucking head off. He said, but in that moment, I thought, if I do this, I'm the same as him. And he said, and I realized in that moment, I'm not that sort of person. So he holstered his gun, they roughed him up a bit, and then put the cuffs on him.
Yeah. I wouldn't have had that kind of thought process, though, while trying to restrain him and not shooting him. I wouldn't have shot him because it'd have been too easy for him not to suffer.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how I'd react, to be honest. It's such a weird, such a high, intense sort of thing to be under.
I do get his argument, though, because it would have been too easy to kill him.
Yeah. But then, after they arrested him, they wanted the warrant. While searching him, by the way, they found Dan Meredith's ID. They found a picture of Evelyn and her little boy Jason that he'd taken from the house. He was already guilty. They knew it. But then when they went in, they found the blood. Apparently his apartment was just caked in blood. There was bodies of puppies and cats and guts. And
God, so he didn't even dispose of.
And then even when they went to the blender, there was still leftover flesh.
Oh
and
God, how do you the smell? How can you live?
Yeah, apparently the apartment stank of rotting flesh. So yeah, the detectives pretty much nailed it.
Yeah.
And like I say, all the other ones, you're kind of laughing at the cops in Ed Kemper's story, Ted Bundy's story, because you're like, you guys are fucking morons. Ed Kemper was literally talking to the police. He was working with them. Yeah, so the detective pretty much nailed it with this one. They caught him, arrested him, found guilty, but he tried to go for the insane plea, so he wouldn't get the death sentence.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame him for putting him as insanity.
But everyone in Sacramento was like, no, fuck this guy deserves death.
Yeah.
So they pushed to basically stop that, and they used the excuse of he may have been suffering with some mental illness, but he was of well mind enough to use gloves to know that he was doing something wrong.
Yeah, definite premeditation.
Yeah. And he would also lie to cover up, so he would lie about the fact that he'd ever killed someone. He would admit to killing animals, but he never admitted to killing the humans.
Right.
So in the court case, they were like, look, so he's lying.
Yeah.
So he knows this is wrong because he's lying about it. He was found guilty, so he was put on death row. But then the age of 30, after hoarding a bunch of antidepressant pills that he was supposed to take on a daily basis, overdosed himself, died in his sleep, which he did not deserve.
Bitch.
Yeah. He deserved a way worse, more painful death than that.
Yeah. So only the age of 30.
Yeah.
What we are now.
Yeah.
Crazy. He's lived a whole life.
and the terrifying thing is, if it would have not been nipped in the bud when it was, and the detectives didn't do as good of a job they did, they found 44 more days on his calendar marked in red marker. And
Planning to
previous
kill.
2 days that were marked were the days that he'd acted on.
Right.
So it was like a week by week thing he was doing.
Yeah. He was
And-
booked up.
Yeah. Yeah. So if they'd have not caught him and stopped him, God knows what else he would have done.
Yeah,
Because
that's crazy.
you only escalate from there.
Do you know how far he travelled to these houses?
It was all pretty localish. Like, it wasn't very
So,
far.
like, if you did live near him and you knew, like, just about him, like his name and that, you're thinking, fucking hell, he's only around the corner from me. I could have been one of these 44.
Yeah,
Easy.
a lot of people reported.
Maybe even more if there was more people in my house.
A lot of people reported seeing them in their window, and he would just not enter.
Oh my
He would just
God, that
stand in
goes
their
through me.
window. He would stand in their window, look at them through the window for a few minutes, and then just drift off onto someone else's garden.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It definitely was part of the 44 then.
Yeah, maybe.
Because
Because that's the thing,
why else would you look through
they
first?
don't know whether he was actually like scanning the places he was going to do, or it was just a spur of the moment thing.
If you did it multiple times, surely it was like
Because-
seeing what kind of person was in there. Because it sounds like from the people who he killed, they were like not defenseless,
Yeah.
but not as 6'4".
They argue though with the schizophrenia, it is kind of chances were it would probably spur of the moment.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, but saying that, you say spur of the moment, but it's also planned because he's planned the days.
Yeah, and he did buy a gun before doing it, so I'm guessing it doesn't matter like how big this person would have been to
Yeah, he didn't
restrict him.
Didn't care.
He'd have just obviously seen him from a distance
Yeah.
and shot.
Yeah, but yeah, that piece of shit's dead. And
So,
78.
78 then, when he died.
Yeah, 78. Sorry, yeah.
No, it wouldn't have been. It would have been 80. It's 1980, wouldn't it? If he was born in 19...
Oh yeah, sorry, 1980.
Oh,
Yeah, so
1980.
he committed the murder in 78.
Yeah,
sorry,
sorry.
and then he on death row killed himself.
Oh,
at
okay,
the
so
age
he
of
had 2
30.
years on death row.
Yeah.
Before finally taking the pills.
Yeah.
So he had 2 years to think about it.
Apparently, he got so much abuse from like the other cellmates because they knew he was a baby killer.
I'm surprised no one did.
Have you ever seen Death Row, where it's like just loads of cells in a row, but they're all on one side, so they're all like next door to each other.
Right.
And apparently, like starting from the very first cell, they would all piss in jugs, passing it along to the very end to the guy who was next to Richard Chase's cell, and he would throw the piss
Oh, right.
round at Richard Chase.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like 6 different
Yeah, yeah.
pisses in that.
And like Henry Zabrowski makes a joke like, could you imagine if that was like that's where he drew the line? And he's like,
Yeah.
I know I'm a sicko, guys, but this is disgusting. But yeah, apparently they were the ones like goading him on to kill himself, and he did it. He hoarded a couple of weeks of supplies of antidepressants.
Oh, okay. So what they were already prescribing
Yeah.
for him while they were there. He didn't bring him in.
I mean, why would he, I would have just not given him antidepressants. Let him fucking suffer. Leave him in his cell. Let him suffer.
Yeah.
Let him have the voices. Who gives a shit?
Yeah. Why would you try and make someone better before they die?
Exactly.
Anyway? Like if they are.
I was thinking, what do you think his last meal would have been?
His last meal, liver.
You imagine like there's like two police officers and one of them goes, "So Rich, what's your requested last meal?" He just looks at other police officer like,
yeah.
other police officers like,
Yeah. He's just got like a pigeon and like a puppy, and he's going. I don't know. That's so good.
But yeah, that was the first episode of Graveyard Shift. That was Richard Chase,
Yeah.
very sick, evil, demented person.
Yeah, I've got to tell you, like the name rang a bell. The vampire name ring a bell and stuff. But yeah, the stories itself, how long his human reign was for, and everything like that, it's
very
quite
quick.
shocking. Yeah,
Very quick.
to say it's 3 months, 2 years imprisonment, and then done. Like there's usually a chase. I think that's probably why maybe it's not in the media as much.
Yeah.
Because the story's so like da 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 da, and it goes but
Yeah.
like kind of thing.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
there's no gradual
Mm.
kind of thing.
He was a very short spree that he was active.
Yeah,
But for anybody who's like into this sort of stuff, it amazes me that a lot of people have never heard of him
yeah,
because he is so sick. The
Yeah.
things he did was so bad. Well, like I said, maybe it's just because he didn't do it for very long. Maybe because his count's so low for the murders.
I guess
that's a lot of what people look for when they're like, "Oh, who's the best serial killer?" And you see Ted Bundy killed like 30. John Wayne Gacy killed like 36 or 33 or something.
Like we've been saying as well, like the personality behind him.
Because
Ted Bundy's trial got televised.
Yeah, I mean, Richard Chase has nothing going for him. He's a very boring person, creepy person. There's nothing that really stands out about his looks. He's a very plain-looking guy. Like, even if he was a very, very strange-looking guy, that would make him more notorious.
Yeah.
But just because he's an average-looking guy...
Yeah, it's a really weird...
but it's just his acts.
Bag.
It's just his acts are so, like, demented. They're all... You can literally see the... like, his mental struggle in the acts he's doing because he has nothing. You just see there's nothing there.
Yeah.
And like one of the detectives said, it's almost like you could see from the crime scenes that he was just playing with the corpses like a doll, like with the intestines and everything. He just felt nothing for them.
Do you know if he had any interview process while it was locked up?
I looked for them everywhere.
That's probably another reason why there's nothing really televised or documented.
And because I wanted to get recordings for his voice.
Yeah.
But there's nothing. There's only video footage of him like walking in and out of court. That's it.
Oh.
A few times, and he looks different every time. There's one where he looks really fucking
He has like
weird.
a joke nose and glasses on him.
Yeah. Wasn't me. Yeah. He's just
still got feathers on his face.
I'm just a different guy. It's like, because you're wearing a jacket, you just see.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a magician.
I'm gonna pull a pigeon out of my throat. It's just the body.
Fucking judge. Now we're gonna like recess.
This guy's cool.
Like with the hammer, fucking break for recess.
Yeah.
He just pulls a bird out.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God. Like it's a fucking Capri Sun.
Yeah, just like that with hammer. A straw.
Yeah.
There's like a little like straw in the finger. Yeah, just on the side of it. Just tears it off, pokes it through finger. Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, so expect a few more episodes with stuff like this. Tommy's going to be running the next episode.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a think about what I'm gonna choose next, and then I'll try and find one out, get some details, go like kind of like the same
pace.
Yeah. The same sort of stages through their life, sort of like summary with a little bit of detail. So they're two different words, but yeah, them kind of vibes is what you were saying.
But yeah, we hope you enjoyed that one.
Yeah, thank you for watching. Should we put it out as audio as well?
Yeah.
Say like on I don't know. I'll see if I can get like a podcast account on some sort of website or something. I don't know if you can just upload it to Spotify or anything like that. Yeah. But I'll try that.
Yeah. But yeah, if you enjoyed that, stick around for some more episodes. Like I said, we'll be doing more. But it's not just going to be about serial killers. It'll be about everything that's like weird and spooky and shit.
Yeah, we want it sort of like. We kind of like the dark twists and turns things can take. Like, I love my horror films. We both are really interested in like serial killers and all that
unsolved mysteries.
Yeah, the true crime and all that kind of stuff. Maybe even like when stuff get a little bit supernatural, whatever. Yeah. But yeah, we do like come together when it's that kind of theme. Yeah. I don't think, obviously, if you're familiar with the Plastic Podcast, I don't think Jack and Kieran,
if they wanted to take
don't get me wrong, if they wanted to, but
we don't think they're as interested.
Yeah,
in fact, you know what? I think
we'll bring it to the table.
I think Jack might be,
perhaps, yeah,
but I've never really heard Kieran talk about it.
No, and every time we sort of mention something that's sort of like on the melancholy kind of vibe, it's not really his vibe.
But I've heard Jack talk a lot about stuff like that, so there's a chance Jack would want to be involved and stuff.
He's got like a bucket's worth of like ghost stories.
Yeah, exactly.
And stuff like
exactly. So you there's a good chance you would see like Jack or maybe even Kieran on these episodes.
We'll have Kieran on for one to tell them about his sleep paralysis. Ghost.
But But yeah, we hope you enjoyed it, guys.
Yes, thank you very much for
thank
watching.
you.
This is the first one. Any ideas, any sort of criticism, let us know. And then, or any suggestions, what you'd want to hear that you think is an underdog that you don't even know.
Yeah, because I had the amount of times I'm flicking through YouTube and stuff, and it suggests me a killer that I've never heard of.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you guys have got any like serial killers that you know are like really bad but not well known,
Yeah.
let us know.
And if it's a good suggestion and we pick it, we'll shout out you.
Yes.
Shout you out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Follow the Patreon.